All right, so I'm going to show you how to create a 12 segmented circle that you can use for creating a birth chart or zodiac board. And what we want to do is we want to take we're going to do this without a protractor. We're just going to use this compass, and you can use a needle and string with a pencil or pen, or anything you can use to create a circle with, because that's all we're going to be doing. Is we're going to be creating a bunch of circles. And the way that I want to set this up is that this width is at least a quarter or less of the width of the smallest part of what you're working with. So if it's a page like this, you want to do the narrowest part of the page, get at least a quarter of it or less. Or if it's a square or a circle or a piece of fabric or whatever you're working with. So we want to kind of basically put this, I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm putting it in the middle. I'm punching the needle down hard so it gives me a nice little hole, and it's going to hold that straight. I can turn the page, or I can turn the compass. I'm going to spin the compass, and we're just going to create our initial circle like that. And then, leaving my compass at the same width, I'm just going to find any point on the circle and make sure my pencil goes through the center so that I'm measuring it correctly. And already I can see that I'm off on the center. You might not be able to see it on the video, but I'm off by like just a fraction of a millimeter. But that's how that goes. If you're exactly precise, this works out exactly perfect. But even just being off that little much is going to end up kind of exacerbating a little bit. So you will see some variation in the circle as we go, but do your best, and you'll get something pretty good. So then now, after I've got this, now I've got another intersection point here on the edge of the circle. So I'm just going to place my needle there, again trying my best to be as precise as possible. And then I'm going to make sure that goes through the center, which I can see it pretty much does, and then inscribe another circle like that. So that's going to be our second or a third circle. That gives us our next point over here. We have another point over here, so I'm actually going to alternate. That's one way you can do, technique you can use to try to compensate for any small variations in placement. And so now I've got 4 circles on the page, and then we're going to come back up here, kind of alternating again, place the compass here, and inscribe that circle, making sure we go through the center of the original circle. Then here we are. I think this will be our last one. Check to make sure I'm in the center, and I'm a little bit off. Let me just adjust that needle if I can. There we go. Oops, just slipped there. Let's put that back. Okay, and there we are. Okay, this should all intersect there. And there we go. Oh, I'm flipping. My hand is a little bit unsteady, but there we go. So now we have that circle there. Oh, nope, we still have one more we need to do. So we alternate on this side, come back on this side, and we should go through that point and the center. So I need to just make sure, there we are. And we're gonna create this last circle on the page. And here, by the time we're done with that, we now have basically the setup for creating a 12 segmented zodiac. And the way that we're going to do this is we could stop right here. We could create an outer circle around the outside here, draw a line through each of these flower segments. So we've got 1, 2, 3. That'll divide the circle into 6. And then we have outer flower here. We have a larger, you can see this is like the flower petal for a larger flower. So we could do that again, 1, 2, 3. And then we'd have six segments on the first inner flower petal division, and then 6 segments on the outer flower petal division, creating a total of 12 segments. So we could do that if we wanted to at this point. I'm going to do something a little bit. I'm going to take one more step here because it creates an interesting pattern, a pattern that I think is relatively beautiful. If we do one more thing here, but we could stop here. And I just want to say, in order to stop here, what we would do is we would take the point of the compass here, we would find the outer edge here, and then we would just create an outer circle around the outside, and then we would have these, we could create another circle around this side, and then we'd have a 12-pointed circle with just creating the divisions. But I'm going to do one more thing here. I'm going to take a straight edge, and I'm going to make sure that I'm on the center there, and that I go into the center here, which I'm a little bit off. So I'm going to just make a mark right here. Okay, so now I've got, this is where, like, if I was drawing my 12 point, my lines here, this would be where my line goes through right there. So what I'm going to do, again, my compass is still the same size. I'm just going to put it on that point there, and it should go through the center of my circle, which it does. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and inscribe another circle here. Okay, and keeping track of my points, this is the point, this is the original circle, and that's the intersection of it. So I'm going to go ahead and place my needle here. Okay, again, it does go through the center of the circle, so it looks like I'm good to go there. Okay, again, here's the intersection point. There's the original circle and my intersection point. So I'm going to go here. I should probably alternate. I'll try to remember that for the next step. I'm pretty close to placing my needle here, making sure that goes to the center of the circle, and inscribing that one. There we go. Keeping track here is the outer circle there. I'll just keep going on here. I won't do the alternating thing. I think I'm doing pretty good at keeping towards the center. So let's just go ahead and keep going on that. And then we're gonna do another circle here. Okay. And again, here's where I cross the original circle. I'm gonna place my needle there, and I am still intersecting with the center of the circle, so I'm going to go ahead and inscribe that one. And you can see I was a little bit off. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but that, if I'd been perfect, then I would have been right in the middle of that. And I'm just going to go ahead and complete that last circle by placing it in the middle, which is going to be kind of compensating for that. Like that. And finish that circle there. And then now I have a kind of a really, what I think is a nice, pretty looking flower pattern. And at this point, here's where we can create the outer circle. We could have done it before, but then we wouldn't have all these nice little designs here. So we go into the center again, and I'm just going to open up the circle. And you can keep doing this, actually. You can keep bisecting and creating these outer circles, and they get smaller and smaller. And so right now what we'd have is 12 segments of 30 degrees each. If we bisected again, we'd have 24 segments of 15 degrees arc each, and so on. And anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and draw this outer circle here, which is going to connect all of the outer edges of the different flower petals. Like this. And then you can create different levels of circle. So if we wanted to create like an outer band here, we can take our pencil here and we can go to the edge of this flower petal, and then we can draw a circle that intersects all those intersection points there, and then we have an inner circle. And you can use like different colors on your compass, different colored pencils to create different patterns of color. And then I'm going to create one more step here, and I'm just going to put my compass on this intersection point and just make sure it kind of goes at least through 2 or 3 of those, and it does. So then I'm going to create that circle like that. And then, so now I've got all these nice little flower petals and these kind of like concentric circles. I could even bring it in further if I wanted to. I'm going to just go ahead and stop there for the sake of this explanation. And I'm going to take another pencil here. And let me find another pencil. There we go. Make sure it's sharp. Yep. And then just going to go ahead and make sure I go through the center of the circle. And I'm going to go through each of those flower petals and draw a line. Oops, look at that. The pencil broke. Okay, get another one. All right. Okay, again, making sure I'm going through the center, intersecting at the different points here, and then go ahead and draw my line, just like that. Okay, then we can do the square, the crossing of that. Again, center of the circle, going through our edge points here, making sure we're getting a nice square. Now this is a square. We're creating the squares in here. These are the quadrants of the zodiacs, and we're going to go ahead and each of these are going to end up being divided into three segments. And so the way we do that is by going to this level of the petal of the flower. So this intersection point here. So we're going to go to the center of the circle, through this intersection point here, and you can see that corresponds with it on that same side. So that's our next line here. Okay, then we're going to go to the same level of that circle to the flower petal right here, and we're going to make sure we go to the center of that. We're going to intersect with the center of the circle and make sure we go through that side there. Do the best we can to kind of like get an average. If it's a little bit wonky, just kind of like try to make an adjustment for it, and then inscribe that. You can see it didn't quite go through the center, but it did go through both of these. You know, like I said, we were a little bit off on some of the circles, but now we have 1, 2, 3. So these are all 30 degrees each. And we do the same thing for this side on here. We go to this level of the circle. There's the flower petal. You can see it's not quite there. It's just because the pencil, you know, I used a pencil, which is you're using it, the lead gets reduced, which you know, causes just a slight variation. You know, every slight variation adds up, and it just compounds. So if you're using like a pen or something that is not, you know, and maybe a little bit more accurate compass, but anyways, this is pretty close. So we just go through that part of the flower petal again there, and then the last one here, we're going to go right here, same level of the flower petal out up to that edge, that circle part there, and then again we're going to track that over here. So we're going through this one, the center, and the outer one there on that side, and then there we are. So now we have an equally 12 divided circle with different circles. We could put the say if we wanted to put the signs here, we could, you know, put the sign out here. We could call this the 9th house. We could, you know, do other things. We could, different levels of the circle can be different things. And if we're creating a zodiac board, we can place the stones or whatever in here like this. So anyways, that's how you create a perfectly divided 12-part circle with just one measurement on the compass, and it creates this beautiful 12-pointed flower petal it's got 12 points on the inside, and then, you know, multiple concentric circles on the outside. So there you go, and that's how you do it. Hope that was helpful.